Hello and welcome to today's video where James and I are going to discuss what we would like to see for the future of Critical Role. So first of all, because this video maybe through YouTube search engine, you could find it and not know who we are. So my name is Anne, also known as SweetYFT on the interweb. I've done a lot of videos in the past with that guy, mostly about A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones. And I also do videos about a lot of other topics on this channel. Very eclectic. James, you want to introduce yourself?
You can find me at JBTV. Anne is actually the one that got me onto Critical Role, and I binge watched all the first 100 episodes in like a 2-week span somehow, even though I don't know how it was possible. But I thoroughly enjoy it. But there are definitely some things we would like to talk about in the next campaign that I'd like to see a little different, and that's why we're here. And in the words of Grog Strongjaw, bidet.
Bidet to you, sir. Okay, so James, you wanna tell our audience, which on the opposite might have no idea what Critical Role is or what we're talking about, a little bit more about what it is.
Essentially, it's a group of friends playing Dungeons and Dragons that might sound lame or boring. However, these are professional voice actors that bring a lot of drama into it. And I would say at the beginning, it wasn't as good as where it is in terms of how the production is and the presentation and where they went thematically isn't as good as it was in the beginning as it is now. So I would say, to kind of power through the beginning, and then once you get there, you'll be hooked. Especially like in the when the Briarwood arc starts, that's where it starts getting really good. But yeah, essentially it's professional voice actors, all guys who have a lot of credits in their names of playing famous characters in video games and anime, so they know their shit. The DM is an amazing DM who can paint a picture with his words and does a million different characters. So to me, it's they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and even if you don't even know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, I still think that you get a lot out of it in terms of the story that they're building. So I would give it I would try it out if you have no clue what it is.
Yeah, definitely, because James and I certainly don't know that much about Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons. Same thing. I was introduced to that show by someone, and it took me forever to start watching it because basically most of the times what you see are just people's face sitting around a table. And I thought, if you're not into role-playing or Dungeons and Dragons, how interesting can it be? But Matt Mercer, who is their DM, who invented that whole world, none of the stories that we see on screen are from any of the books. They're all like, I think, original creations by Matt Mercer. And he's like the best story writer that I've seen in a long time. Like, I want him to be writing scripts for TV shows because he's so amazing. So the story is amazing. The actors are really good. It's really role playing heavy. If you are a Dungeons and Dragons specialist, apparently, because we see a lot of people complaining, they're not like always 100%. They're not big like rule. It's not really rule heavy role playing. But they're always in character. It's really fun to watch, and after a while, you forget that you're just watching people sitting around a table. It's really, really, really immersive. And also, James was talking about like getting into it. So to be fair, we are now on episode 108. Each episode is somewhere between 3 and 4 hours long. So there, either you have a lot of time on your hands, and I did link the YouTube page down below. Oh yeah, first it's a show that is aired live on Twitch and Alpha, and then like 5 days later, I think you can see it on YouTube. But if you're like if you use Twitch, you can check them out live. They also started a podcast, which might be easier if you want to catch up on the 108 episodes. Next, if you have might be easier than watching YouTube. It's not linked in the description box yet, but I will link the podcast. And also, the topic of that video is that, so for 108 episodes, we have watched the unfolding story of a group of adventurers named Vox Machina. But that's the whole overarching story arc. Is coming to an end. And I don't know, we don't really know, like the story is not over, so we don't know how long it will take until the end, but we can definitely feel that we're finishing the last part of that story arc. And Matt Mercer said that they were going to, after that, I think he said, I'm not sure about that info, but that he said it was going to be when the character the PCs were all like level 20. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, James. That they would just like start over with a new group. And what we're here to discuss today is the things we would like to see in that new adventure with a new bunch of PCs. So I think the two bases was that Matt said they was still going to be set in the world of Exandria, which is the world that he created. Probably not on the continent of Tal'Dorei, which is where we've seen them mostly evolve for all of those episodes, but probably on another continent of the world of Exandria. And also that it was going to be set 15, 25 years later. So it would be a totally new group of people, but like we could still sense the consequences of the actions of Vox Machina. So that was the basis for our discussion.
Yeah, and I would like to throw in there that, kind of piggybacking on what you said, if your style of D&D is like purely number crunching and power gaming and like strategizing, you would probably not like the show, because like I said, their strategies, even sometimes their strategies are dumb. It is what it is. Sometimes their strategies are dumb, and that they're not about that. Like I said, it's all about the drama and the story that they're involved in, which is cool. I really like that. That's what I like. Also, just to I want to preface this by saying that I haven't watched all 108 episodes. I'm on episode 104. So if I say something that maybe I should know at this point, it's because I'm not fully caught up. But
yeah, it could be wrong. I think 108 is playing tonight. I'm really bad at remembering anything, and most of all episode numbers. So yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you. We were not D&D experts by any means. So that's one thing we want to stress out, is that I know a lot of the possible audience of this video are people coming from A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones. You can totally watch that. You don't need to have any knowledge. If you like storytelling, get into it. So either you can try to binge watch, binge listen to all of those episodes, or you could start fresh with the new series that should happen. I mean, I would say before the end of the year. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would watch it all. Like I said, even though there's parts of the first 28 episodes that I find insufferable, not going to say anything, but you just got to power through. And like I said, once it gets to the Briarwoods arc, you'll be hooked, hook, line, and sinker, and you'll just want to binge watch. That's how I was. So I would start from the beginning, watch it all, and just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, we disagree on what you dislike. I kind of like what you. I mean, I definitely don't hate as much as you do. Some of it, I cringe a little bit, but I really miss. I do miss that character. Also, last thing, longest introduction ever. Welcome to one of my videos. If you go to Critical Role Reddit, they have a really cool post like where to start for beginners. That's always there, and it will tell you like which episode you should try to watch to get into it if you don't have time if you don't have the time in life to watch all those episodes, because that's very time consuming. Yeah, again, I will try to link that in the description box, so it's as complete as possible. So first off, one thing I would really like to see, and it's not the future of Exandria, but I have not watched all of the one shots videos that they've done, but I kind of wish they would do more of those, and like that we would have a bunch of little one shots before they start a new arc. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I'd be down with that. I love I love the band, the one they were all part of the Clasp one shot. I forget what it's called exactly, but and one thing I'd like to see, maybe more one shots, but also I'd like to see maybe somehow like you could have like little Easter eggs that connect back to the one shot. Like I think it would have been great if like maybe because I loved. I mean, it's kind of a spoiler, but there was a character called Abby the Rat, played by Sam Riegel in that one shot, who was my favorite of his, almost one of my favorites of all of his characters. And it would have been cool if maybe like, they could have had like some random guy, drop a hint, like maybe he's Abby the Rat's brother and, he wants to find his brother or something. Just some like find some like connections that would appeal to like, the hardcore fans that have watched everything, some cool little Easter eggs. I think that'd be cool to do. But yeah, I do like all the one shots. I liked the weird Liam one shots he did where it was like, they were all themselves and they were like transported into the game or whatever. I like that stuff. So I would be cool with seeing more one shots for sure.
Yeah, I've not watched Liam's one shots yet. I've watched, I don't think even I've finished the one where there are class members, and I've watched a little bit of the one where they're all goblins. That
Yeah.
I think might still be in the same multiverse. But like I don't doubt there will be Easter eggs. Like the whole philosophy was that, we would still be in Vox Machina's world. So I mean, I know they love Easter eggs. Like today I just saw that on Reddit. So they're filming live at what con is that? Gen Con? Gen Con. They're filming live at Gen Con today. And there's like, I saw a little picture that was like, yeah, Vox of like a movie theater. So I don't know if it's really what they're filming or if it's just a funny picture. But anyway, it was Vox Machina, and there was special guest Larkin. And I thought that was hilarious. Larkin, it's a character
Right.
that we see, and it's a ongoing joke that they still reference that and make jokes about it. So yeah, no, that would be really cool. Also, I wouldn't mind seeing them, although I know they guest star on Geek and Sundry other videos. Like I wouldn't mind seeing them in something like totally different, like doing a little one shot, like steampunk. Is that what it's called? Like the really dark, like almost futuristic, but 1890s London vibe type of thing.
Yeah, like just do something. Well, I mean, Liam's one shots are like the other ones are set in like today's world. So they have done different like settings outside of Exandria in different times on the one shots. But yeah, it'd be cool to like see a steampunk one, or maybe like even like like a Star Trek world kind of one, like a futuristic space world or something like that. It'd be cool to see stuff like that for sure.
Yeah. Also, I wouldn't mind, like, so to go back to Exandria, like one shots where they are a party with a evil alignment. Like there was a little bit of that in the Clasp one, but I don't think it was mandatory. They were not good guys, but I don't think it was mandatory that they were all evil. But like one that would be like set in hell, in the hell setting would be amazing, because it's really political, but and really organized. And there's I think there's a lot that they could do with something like that.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. I could see Travis playing a good lawful evil character.
A good lawful evil character, yeah. Definitely. I mean, I don't think Matt wants or will allow evil characters on his campaign. So those are things that we could only hope for on one shots. Okay, so to move on, to recap again, there are currently 6 PC in that game. 6, 7, 7 PCs in that game. There is Laura, who is playing Vex, an elf ranger. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm gonna mess up there because they're all level 18 now, so they're all multi-classing. But basically, elf ranger. Her twin brother, played by Liam, so twin brother Vax, with an elf rogue. There's a Taliesin playing Percy, a human gunslinger. That's a class that is not originally from Dungeons and Dragons, but that Matt created. I think it's something they carried over from the previous game they were playing.
It's essentially a modified fighter that can use ranged weaponry.
There's Ashley playing Pike, who is a gnome cleric. Marisha playing Killith, elf druid. You see, I'm not specialist. Sam playing Scanlan, who's a bard gnome, and Travis playing Grog, who is a barbarian. God, I forgot the
Goliath.
Thank you. So that is.
Let's also not forget that Sam also played Tyrion Darrington, human artificer, but he is currently playing Scanlan again. But yeah.
No, I mean that. Well, that was for what, 10 episodes? No, maybe more than that. Actually,
about 15.
15. It was never intended to be 15. Like, I think Sam said, that I thought it would be 2 or 3 episodes, and then it carried on for some reason.
I will say I miss Scanlan in that stretch, but I really liked Tyrion. Like, I almost liked him more than Scanlan.
I really like Tyrion. Like, I really like the Tyrion PC, but I had a hard time. Like, he wasn't a long-term viable option for the party, not because of him as a person, but because he was a low-level artificer. There was the old money issue. Like, it was like he couldn't. Yeah, that's what I was a little frustrated about.
They definitely needed Scanlan back, because they need. And I'll talk about this what we need in future. The next campaign is they definitely needed counterspell. It's something that they had to have against these powerful magical creatures that they're going against now. So they definitely needed him back.
Yeah, and just to finish, when they began the show, they had another actor. Do you want to talk about it because you hate him so much?
I mean, I don't hate him as a person. I just didn't like
the character.
Yeah, I wish him all the best and stuff. But yeah, there was a character named Tiberius Stormwind, and obviously he was filling in that the magical heavy damage dealer from range with utility spells that they need now. They need that. He played a sorcerer. Unfortunately, due to issues with the cast or whatever, we don't know specifics, but he had to leave the show around episode 28. I personally didn't like the character. It was kind of cringy at times, and he would interrupt and make a lot about him, in my opinion. But they need that. They need that character. I'll talk about it later, but that's why they had to have Scanlan, because Scanlan is a bard and a lore bard, from what I've researched, is actually one of the more powerful characters in the game, because they can essentially choose what spells they want from different schools of magic, and they need that versatility. That's why they had to bring Scanlan back. But
yeah.
And he's just a great character too. My favorite character.
Yeah, my favorite is Vax, but I mean, my favorite used to be Vax. I'm not so crazy about new Vax, but
yeah,
that's neither here nor there. Just to say, yeah, they used to have one more character, and for a while, the lack of a sorcerer in the party had to be counterbalanced, because it was making them weaker. So that's something I think to take into consideration for the next campaign. So first thing first. So I think Matt said next campaign would be set in Exandria, but not Tal'Dorei. Do you have a preference of where you would like to see that happen? Have you thought about that?
I have not. But I mean, oh my God, what's the one? one continent with the where they're kind of more desert-like.
Marquette.
Marquette, yeah. I could see them be doing something in Marquette or Wildemount, but I'd probably see Wildemount more as a possibility, I guess, because it seems like their speech is more. If they were all Marquesians, they'd all have to speak with the kind of I guess their Middle Eastern flair or whatever Indian kind of flair accents all the time. I don't know if they'd be down to do that all the time. So I could see it maybe being in Wildemount. It seems like they kind of have a cool history in Wildemount. Like that's where the Briarwoods were from, and that's where like Tarion was from. So I could see them doing Wildemount area. But I mean, obviously, eventually they're going to be spread across the whole. I mean, they'll eventually be all over the place. I imagine once they get powerful again.
I mean, definitely. I mean, like Wildemount, I think has been the more speculated place for it to take place. Well, because we've had the link with the character of Terry, also because it's a really political continent. I'm going to pull that from the wiki. So the continent of Wildemount is located to the northeast of Tal'Dorei, and let me try to do that quick. Okay, one area of Wildemount is named Wynandir, which is split into two kingdoms, one of which is the Dwendalian Empire. That is ruled over by King Bertrand Dwendal. His law is absolute throughout the kingdom. Whether or not he created the law himself, he enforced the kingdom's ban on necromancy, which doesn't seem to work that well since they had the Briarwoods and Vecna. But and as he prepared to seize the estate and lands of the Briarwoods once they had been accused of practicing the forbidden magic, the citizens appeared to greatly distrust the school of necromancy as a mob razed the Briarwood homestead. Yeah. Anyway, there seems to have a lot of baronies there, and seems to be like something with a much stronger like political hierarchy than we see in Tal'Dorei. So I think that could be really, really interesting to see that play out more. Because okay, so my knowledge of Dungeons and Dragons, it's Critical Role, and then I've been watch a lot of videos of DM player YouTube guy named Matt Colville. I have linked his YouTube channel below, and I know he's friend with a group. They're actually collaborating on a project together right now. But he explained in a lot of his videos that like Matt Mercer's DMing style is one DMing style, but that it's not all DMing styles. And like one thing I know that Matt Colville likes to do is have his stories being really, really politically heavy, and he talks a lot about that in his videos, and that made me really interested to see more of that. And I think Wildemount would be the perfect place. Another cool place, because we've seen it a lot and we're really familiar with it already, is I hope I pronounced that right, Ysera, which is basically the continent where Vasselheim is located. What do you think?
Yeah, I could see that. But I mean, pretty much, I think that Wildemount is the place to be. I mean, when I envisioned Wildemount and for everything that it was said to me, it reminded me of Ivalice in Final Fantasy Tactics. That's kind of the,
because I'm not familiar with that.
It's like a lot of political intrigue, a lot of infighting, a lot of backstabbing. Just to kind of the way that their armor was, like when you see Final Fantasy Tactics, like it reminded me exactly of how Tarion looked. Like that's kind of how so whenever saw the art of Tarion, I was like, okay, that reminds me a lot of Ivalice from the Final Fantasy Tactics world. So I would like to see that, and hopefully maybe and what we'll talk about when we want to see in future campaign, that I want to see something maybe a little more grounded, and maybe more of the political intrigue stuff. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I think we've seen a lot of Vasselheim. So I mean, I don't know if I'd want to, because I imagine if they're on that continent, it would be centered in Vasselheim for the most part, because that's the only thing. But maybe, you know, we haven't learned a lot about that continent really, and we haven't seen too much other than Vasselheim and what the Fire Ashari or whatever. So maybe it would be cool. You know, we can learn more about it. Maybe there's more cities or something we just haven't been to yet. So, but yeah, I think Wild Mouse is the place to go.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think so too. You could see my head moving because hey, I can never center my camera properly and I always look like I'm a gnome. But I was checking the chat because, yay, we had people watching us. And thank you guys. And okay, so Angelo, who obviously watches the show and it's cool, he said that Vax is great, but it gets kind of boring. Yeah, I'm not. I used to really, really, really like Dagger. That was really funny. But right now it is. I know it's not a topic of the video, but it's really mopey, which reminds me of Jon Snow. And you know how much I hate Jon Snow, and I like the brooding, mopey, like I'm carrying the world's fate on my shoulder thing. It's not my favorite character type in general.
Yeah, from episode 1 up until he meets the Raven Queen. Like, I loved that Vax.
Yeah.
Like, he was my favorite up to that point.
Me
you know,
too.
he was fun loving. He was fun. He'd kill. I mean, he'd wreck monsters' shit. I mean, he was really powerful, and he still is. But it was like once the Raven Queen got in, he became like an edgelord, and yeah, it's like I don't know. It's not my thing. I like more of. And that's the reason why Scanlan and Grog are my favorite characters.
I love Grog, but
yeah, but yeah, I'd like to see that, and we're talking about what we want to see in future. I'd hope maybe a little less of that and a little more of both drama and comedy.
Yeah,
but you can still have drama and not be like super, you know, depressing or whatever.
Oh no, definitely. But you know what's funny is that because yeah, right now Scanlan might be my favorite, but in the older episodes, Scanlan was a little bit until he met Kelly, pretty much, and until his time off, he was maybe a little too buffoonic, you know, all the time. That was his like sort of only role play, his only gimmick, and Vax to me used to be more of a middle ground, that he was playing pranks on his friends, but he could also be like a really hardcore killer. And since Scanlan came back, he almost like he reached that sweet middle ground where he's still making pranks, still being really funny, but at the same time, like he's there for the kill. Like you can really feel that he's invested in there, like that he's dangerous and ready to kill.
Go ahead.
No, I kind of wanted to have seen more of the Meat Man. Like I love that episode so much. Like I wanted more.
Oh yeah, that was really good. But yeah, Scanlan trying to seduce Kaylee in the bedroom, and then having the great moment when it's revealed that you know what is revealed. That's still the top moment of the whole series for me. Yeah,
yeah, that was really shocking, but like maybe that was a little too shocking for me. Like I don't know.
To me, it was just Sam Riegel's ability to talk. And it was his ability to talk it through.
Yeah.
I thought he did a really good job there. That's one of my favorite moments.
So talking about the continents, trying to go back to our subject, but still good at the chat. Angelo says something that I don't understand, but maybe you do. They could play the new continent from Tomb of Annihilation implemented in Exandria. Do you have any idea what Tomb of Annihilation is?
Know what that is? I have, like I said, I'm not fully caught up. I don't know if that's something new or something.
I wouldn't spoil you. I think that's something from, because you do a lot more research and you're so knowledgeable that I assume that's something from another D&D.
Yeah, I think it's something. Like I said, I don't know everything about D&D. I haven't played D&D in like 18 years, so I'm assuming it. Yeah, it is something. Looking at it, I just looked it up. It is something. It's kind of like an expansion pack or something from D&D. like something they
Okay.
just added or whatever,
Okay.
like a
So
new.
Angelo, like tell us in the chat, like what you think it's cool. Okay, it's a new continent that is tropical and covered in jungles. Yeah, that would be cool. That's also why I would kind of like to see Marquette. So I agree with the accent problem, but to be fair, from Marquette, we only saw Anchorel,
Right.
which is because they're all continents. So maybe in Anchorel they have that really thick
I mean,
accent, but they could still be from. I don't.
right.
I would kind of like to see just a different weather system and vegetation system than the typical European weather. Like
Right.
I live in European weather. I want to see something more exotic.
I mean, I could see that. Like, they said it's like a jungle continent or whatever. Like, it would kind of remind me of Southaros from A Song of Ice and Fire. Like, they could be like maybe like they're contracted to explore the world or something. That's how they get their start as a band or group, and that'd be cool. I mean, I'd be down with that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Well, I think there's maybe one reason why, we don't have a lot of Sothorios in A Song of Ice and Fire, why maybe we don't have a lot of Marquette in Critical Role. It's could be because those are like sparsely populated places with not a lot of big human settlements. There's not a lot of political action going on, and that could be lacking for the series.
Right.
One last thing that is listed. So again, it's on the Critical Role Wikia. Oh, please, I'm sorry. I apologize. The change of light. The sun comes out and then the sun leaves, and now I look like I am in the Underdark, which is like another place listed on the Critical Role Wikia as one of the places is the Underdark. So I don't think they could have a campaign. I mean, they could have a one shot with them being Underdark creature, but I really liked all of the episodes that took place in the Underdark, and I would like to see more of that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I enjoyed that. One thing I would say is they need more dungeons in their Dungeons and Dragons. We need long, like, they're down in the Underdark. They really can't. They have a mission to do. You're in one isolated area, and you can't like just go from place to place to get supplies or whatever. Like, they need more long isolated dungeons with a goal at the end. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. One thing I don't really like, I am not crazy about dungeon crawl. Okay, I'm not gonna like. I know you have not watched the last two episodes. I'm not gonna tell you anything of what happens in that, but they have a reason to go where they're going, and it's really good that they're going there. But to me, like, they were not my favorite because it felt like like dungeon crawl, like being stuck somewhere that was not very diverse or interesting, where they couldn't really meet anyone except bad guys. But I feel like the Underdark, there's still a lot of people and factions living there. Like I know those are from those episodes you didn't like, the early episodes, but it was really interesting what he had managed to do with the whole like political turmoil going on in the Underdark. So I would like to see that. I know it's really separated from the world above, so it wouldn't have repercussion, but I don't know, maybe you could come up with something.
Yeah, for sure. No, I really like I like the Underdark episodes a lot. I thought the payoff at the end was amazing. I mean, I can see some of the things you're talking about, like when they went to go kill the Rakshasa. I forget what his name was, but
Yeah.
like that stuff isn't my favorite. Like I want to see more. I mean, not like dungeons, but like you're saying with that, like vast areas, but they're in that area. Like they have, and there's an amazing payoff at the end. That's what I want to see more of.
Yeah, definitely. I think like a combination. I love the episode in Hell. Like, to me, I didn't think I would be so impressed, like how we could make Hell, because in my mind it was sort of like a fire elemental plane, but with more bad guys. And I didn't really like the fire elemental. I'm not crazy when they're in the elemental plane because they can't really have like human interaction. But hell was just, I mean, like that was fucking brilliant. I loved it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the hell is cool because you have like the demons have a rich social hierarchy with a lot of different type of demons and devils and stuff. So that stuff I enjoy. And yeah, I mean, and plus, who could forget Scanlan's clutch modify memory? That wasn't hell, right? When they had the whole.
I remember
that was
in
that was in no, that was in the City of Bronze. Never mind.
That is
when they fought.
That's in the elemental plane of fire, right?
Right. Yeah, they were in the City of Bronze and they were fighting the one demon. It was the ambassador to hell. Mm. And then he had the clutch modify memory on the guards they were going to have like 500 guards coming after him, but he had the clutch modify memory. Yeah. But yeah, that wasn't hell. I forgot that wasn't hell.
But. No, but that's what I mean. Same thing for me. Like I think it's City of Brass. I could be wrong because I have
it was
a memory. But yeah, it took me forever to figure out that. Oh no, that was not in hell. That was because it looked so much like hell. I mean, it had the same kind of vibe. But anyway, getting off topic. So. We've talked about locations, so we all agree that Wildemount would probably be ideal. Although they could still start. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing them starting in Vassenheim because we know the place, and it could be a very rich meeting point. But anyway, so what else would you like to see for the next campaign?
Okay, I mean, I got a good amount of stuff here, but the first one is I definitely want to see, and we're going to by default because they're going to be low levels and stuff. And I mean, when we got into the game, they were, I believe, level like 11 at the start in episode 1. So they were still, I mean, they were higher, and they were still doing stuff like fighting beholders and fighting, bigger monsters. So I'm really looking forward to seeing really low level stuff, a lot more grounded, much more grounded, stories at the beginning, like where the big thing will be they're fighting at the end of the first little adventure they're fighting like a bandit or something, like a bandit king who's like level 3 who they could like flick with their finger and kill right now, but it's going to be a hard battle when they're level 1 and 2. So that's the kind of stuff I'm looking forward to seeing, more grounded stories.
Definitely. I mean, and we've seen the what's it called? One more thing I should link. Previously on Critical Role, like there was the old storytelling video that was amazing about all of their adventures up until when they started live streaming, and it was really like that really got me excited for the new campaign. Like, because at first I was like, oh my god, no, I'm just caught up and they're changing the characters when I finally catch up. But watching that, I'm like, yes, like even at the very beginning, all of the little stories were like smaller encounters on smaller level, but still like really intricate and very interesting with a lot of mystery. So I would also really want to see them being level 1. I would love to see them meet like actually, would you like to see a session 0 where they make their characters?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like to see the thought process of how they're going to make their characters. And I also think it's going to be great when they're in a oh shit situation and they're about to all die and they can't just plane shift out of there. Like, I want to see how they handle that situation where they're not gods anymore, as Keela said the one episode.
Yeah,
I believe. They're not gods anymore, and they just can't bamf out of a situation. So I want to see how that turns out.
They wouldn't have resurrection. They wouldn't have. Even I don't know when the cleric starts having that kind of spell. What level can a cleric start to really be able to significantly heal a party? They wouldn't have money to buy a ton of potions, and yeah, they would have to be more tactical than we've seen them be recently, maybe forever.
Well, I mean, they must have done it, but they must have did it before because they made it to this point. So they've been through it. They've been through it before, but I just want to see how it's done. Like, I want to see how they manage it.
Totally agree. I would love to see them starting first level, and maybe even I would be really interested in the session 0 where they make their characters and talk about their backstories and everything before they first meet. Have you ever fantasized of like an ideal way for them to meet other than the classic? They're all at a tavern and someone runs in saying, "Oh my God, monsters kidnapped my grandmother."
Well, I did think that when he brought up the Forgotten Tomb or whatever, that they're, maybe there was, they were contracted by a single employer and then putting together this ragtag group to go explore this new continent or something like that. It's always hard to make, kind of make logical sense of how these people would get put together. But obviously it had to be, I mean, unless you want to have, like, I don't know, maybe they were all childhood friends or something, if you want to make that part of a backstory or something. But otherwise, you kind of have to have it like, here's an employer for a certain goal. You're all hired together. You guys become great friends or something. It's hard to, I guess logically how you fit a band together. But I think that's the way, I mean, you have to do it, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, now we're more of a hook because again, it's set in the same setting, and especially if it's in Wildmount, we have the Darrington Brigade, Tarian Brigade. I forgot how it goes.
The Darrington Brigade, I believe it's called.
The Darrington Brigade. So, which are, for any of you not having watched, new. It's not even a band of adventurer. It's more like a professional enrollment system of adventurer, if I understand that correctly, for Wildmount.
Maybe they specifically, maybe Sam got with Matt and they specifically set this up for the future. I mean, who knows? Shit, I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, that maybe they intentionally set that up for the future, for the next campaign. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I will say.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was say. I mean, I will say that it was cool the way they met Percy, like just like randomly in a prison, all disheveled, nothing to his name. Like that's pretty cool. But he was essentially the only one they met like that, because I guess his first character died or something. From what I heard, but
yeah. Oh, you tell me, because I had not heard.
Yeah, he was a dragonborn paladin at the beginning, and I guess he died in like the very beginning, and then he made the Percy character, and that's when they found him. So the whole campaign would be completely different if that character didn't die.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's also one thing that we need to be prepared for, because low-level characters, I feel like, are a lot more likely to die than gods, than higher-level characters, just because, depending on the DM, but I feel like it's a lot more difficult for your DM to kill you after you've had your PC adventure with those people for 10 years than it is when you just get together. So it also might tweak encounters a little bit. But yeah, I mean, like low-level characters die a lot.
Right. Well, I mean, I understand that they've been playing these characters for a long time and they like the characters and everything, but I do wish, and this is part of I have this in my notes, as death having more permanence, importance. So I would like, I think that the actors should be able to accept that their character die and move on and make a new character. Like, to me, it'd be fresh and new and cool. And also, one thing on the same note, like I wrote down, I'd like to see, one thing I'm surprised that we haven't seen really is a heroic sacrifice at all throughout the show. I would like to see a heroic, like, to me, if I was a big person and they want me to be a celebrity, or, like I was a celebrity and I could be on their show or whatever, I'd be like, tell Matt, like, hey, put the characters in a situation where the only way they can get out of it is by my character doing a heroic sacrifice. I'd love to see, or one of the main characters do a heroic sacrifice. You remember the scene, Bastards, I hate to bring up Game of Thrones, but when Jon has the sword and he's standing,
because I've not seen that episode.
Okay, I thought you did, but have you seen the GIF where like Jon Snow is standing with a sword and the whole Bolton army is on the horses coming towards him?
I mean, I'm sure I must have, but and he does something stupid like, "Oh, you go, I'll stop them on my own."
Yeah, I don't exactly remember because I try to put it out of my mind, but I do remember the image of him standing in front of the Bolton army with the horses coming. Like, I'd want to see like a character do that. Like, I could see like a paladin like sacrificing his self for his whole team or whatever. Like, and that adds to the drama. You can see the repercussions of people saying, "Hey, this person actually died. We're never going to see him again." So I would like to see that because we haven't seen. I can't think of has any character like one of the guest characters or anyone really have died permanent other than like what the king of Amon died. Who cares about him? I mean, there hasn't like I wish like maybe like Gilmore would have died or something like.
No, not Gilmore.
Well, someone of significance, like no one of significance has died that I can think of that like was emotionally resonant.
Oh, I was gonna talk about something, but that could be. I think that's spoiler for you. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna.
Well, still, I'd still want heroic sacrifice something, death to mean something more.
I know, I agree, but that could be also because okay, we don't have a paladin, we don't even have a fighter per se. I mean, like we don't. I'd say that. Like, I don't think we have any character that has a background of chivalry, if that makes sense, that would lead them to sacrifice themselves. The one that is the most integrated into the social political system is Percy, but the character of Percy is not the kind of character to really do a selfless sacrifice for the party. Like, to me,
no, I mean, well, I mean, I think at this point it wouldn't have to be anything involving their backstory of being chivalrous or anything. I just think that they've been together for so long. Like, I feel like Grog would do it. Like, I feel like Grog would do a heroic sacrifice, like a heroic moment where he's like trying to fend off everybody in a frenzied rage to save his friends. Something like that. Like, I'd like to see something cool like that. Or not even that. Like one of the NPCs. At least have one of the major NPCs die. Like, no one has died.
Yeah, no, but I would love to see it from a character. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's gonna happen. It's just that.
Well, I should say
like they have to be sure that it's like the final battle to do that.
Right. Well, I mean, I should preface by saying that people have died. They just come back. So I'd like to see more permanence. Like, to me, I was trying to think of like in my head, I kind of, when they're going through these scenarios, I kind of like envision how I would have done it. And there was the one scene back in Briarwood when they were in Whitestone, back when I was under Briarwood control, when they had like a horde of skeletons coming. Like, I saw in my head, like if I was a character there, like I was like a paladin, and like I'd jump off the horse and be like, run, or whatever, and I'd stay back and sacrifice myself so they can get away. That's the kind of stuff I'd want to see.
Yeah, especially if you had what's that spell? Something undead. That spell that I think Pike has something that just.
Yeah, it's just destroy undead.
Oh, it's okay.
I believe it's called, or something like that. I don't know exactly. Or I know there's turn undead, which fears them, but there is a move that like turns you into a holy nuke that just destroys a bunch of dead.
Oh yeah, that would be so cool. I could also see Pike doing that.
Yeah, I could see Pike doing it.
Oh, actually, one thing I know it's a little disjointed, but one idea I had about the characters, just because we talk about Pike, like. Because Ashley playing Pike as a big, they all stream out of Los Angeles, and Pike is playing a lot of the time in New York City, and she can very often not join on Skype. I mean, I know it could happen to any of them with them being actors, but like, I wish they could have her start with a character where, there could be good reason why she could be in and out. I think that would be cooler than, I mean, they're making it work. They are, really making it work. But so anyway, the actress Ashley is not on every show, so that causes problem for her character, who is either played by the dungeon master or not there, and
right. Well, she does seem to be on more constantly. I mean, from like 80 to like 100. But I know when their show comes back on, she's going to be in New York City more.
And the show just did come back on, so.
Okay. Yeah, I wrote here in my notes, someone other than Ashley Johnson plays the cleric because the cleric is too important, and she's not there sometimes, or quite a bit. But yeah, I think she definitely shouldn't play the cleric. I definitely think they need a cleric, so someone should else play the cleric. But maybe make her like a mercenary for hire that's like a friend with them, so she comes in sometimes, and she's more of like kind of just like a fighter or something that's not as important to the group. Obviously, a fighter does a lot of damage, but like that isn't integral to what they need for the group because she's gone so much.
Well, I mean, to
But
me, it's not even a matter of like the class or the ability of her PC. It's more something that would make the narration flow better. Yeah, if she's a mercenary, it gives a really good reason why she could be in and out of stories. That could be,
right,
you know, perfect reason. Something like that. Something that could explain why. And I know, like maybe in 6 months, I don't hope at all that, but her show could be canceled or she could be back on all episodes, and so that could happen to someone else. But yeah, just something for the moment that could make it more narratively fluid for her to jump in and out, and then maybe then be able to join full time.
right, right, definitely for sure. Um, I got a lot of stuff on like character, like group dynamics. Like one thing I'd want to see is varying and contrasting alignments with more importance. Because let's face it, I know that like Percy is neutral good, Vax and Vex are both chaotic good, Grog is neutral or chaotic neutral, Keela is neutral good, I believe. But essentially, all of them are chaotic good, except Grog, who I will say Grog does the best. I think he does the best RP. He plays this character really well, and he actually does play him as chaotic neutral because he can squash someone's head in a second, and he has done it. But essentially, they all play as chaotic good. I would like to see more varying contrasts. I'd like to see someone playing a holier than thou paladin who's lawful good, who tells Vexalia that she shouldn't be stealing items from characters or something, you know, like,
Yeah.
or like that's so uphold to the law that it might hinder them. It might be a hindrance to them because, oh no, we can't kill this person because we must take him in to be judged or whatever. So I'd like to see more varying and contrasting alignments that bring drama and tension within the group. And I had never heard, I guess you said earlier that you don't think that Matt would have evil characters in the campaign. Maybe he said that sometime and I missed it, but it would be cool to see like maybe like a lawful evil character who's like duping them, like kind of has a goal in his mind. So he's like being like, he's pretending he's good or whatever. And then having like a lawful paladin, like a holy paladin, and then like an evil character, and then like seeing how that would play out. I just think it brings up more drama, and I'd like to see that more because they're all the same. They're all essentially the same in how they think for the most part. I mean, Percy sometimes thinks logically, but they're all chaotic good. They just kind of go in there. They have the right reasons why they're doing everything, but
are they that's a big question we're opening. Are they chaotic good PCs, or are they played by a bunch of people who don't really care about strategizing? In which case, how would that change in the next campaign? You know, like, is it the characters or is it the players? Because we have,
I think it's the players, because they have specific alignments that aren't all chaotic good, but they kind of all just play them as chaotic good. It's the players, in my opinion, and I'd like maybe Matt tell them that maybe they do great RP, but when it comes to that stuff, to me, they're all chaotic good. And I think it's in the players' hearts. That's what their decisions that they're making, not their characters' decisions.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because like everyone's saying, oh yeah, for big battles, like a lot of people wish Kasha, yeah. Like he was there more often, to see more often. I mean, they loved the way he was a strategist. And, that was, the PC, but that was also the player. Like, again, I'm not sure how changing, like, I totally agree with, like, having someone who is really, really, it shouldn't be that hard to role play for those amazing people. So someone really lawful good, like a really lawful stupid paladin. And that would give some contrast, but like that whole thing about being more strategic and less chaotic, I think that's really in the player's DNA. I don't think that that's going to change next campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that maybe, maybe Mercer gets them together and be like, hey, you need to, if you're gonna be lawful good, you have to play your characters lawful good. Like a scenario I could think of is like, they go into a place where this guy is like super evil. Like he's like an evil sorcerer, and he's like taking people's souls, and he's just evil. Like they would just go in there and kill him. Like they would just go in there and just in the end justify the means. They'll just go in there and kill him, and that's a chaotic good action. I feel like they should have a lawful holy paladin. It's like, ho, 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 hold on. We have to bring him in and for him to be judged by the law, not just killed on sight. So, and then that would bring tension in the group. You don't even have to have the dynamic between evil and good. You could just have the different dynamic between chaotic good and lawful good.
Yeah. No, but to
that's
go
the kind
back
of
to
stuff
what
I'd
you're
like to
saying,
see.
just even someone who would give Vex some shit about her chaotic neutral thing she's doing, like stealing the broom. It's really, really cool that she has a flying broom. It's amazing. But she stole a magical artifact. I mean, I don't know if it's an artifact. Anyway, magical object from a poor dude who aligned with them for a one shot. And she stole his very important magical item. And that flew by. Like no one gave her that much crap about it.
Right. And yeah, like that's like I had a like I had a thing where I envisioned in my head, like if I was a lawful holy paladin at that point, I'd put her aside and be like, and maybe like my character would have a backstory where like his own he was like a bandit or something, and his greed got his family killed or something, so he became a paladin, and it'd be like, maybe you shouldn't be so materialistic because your actions have consequences, something like that. Like, and you could have more drama that way, and that's the kind of stuff I want to see. That's why you need to have more. To me, you need to have more contrasting characters. To me, they're too alike. The characters are too alike. In my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, I kind of see what they're not too alike. They're very different in their personalities, but they're too alike in their mechanics, right? That's what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that their characters sometimes are different. Like, obviously, you'll have like Percy have a different train of thought on stuff, but to me, in the end, like their actions in the end are all kind of just too similar. Like they're just kind of all the same in my opinion. But that's something that in the next campaign I'd like to see is more contrasting characters, alignments, and that would lead to inter-drama within the party.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff I'd want to see.
I agree. Like one thing I was noting is that I would like to see more racial diversity in the group. I mean, we have 3 elf, 1 human, which is like a half, not like, and 2 gnomes. And I would love to see that. So I noted, okay, also one thing I've been binge watching, it's linked in the description box. It's by Nerdarchy. I mean, there are a lot of videos, but I've been especially watching their playlist, like saying like how does your race inform your PC, and how does your what else?
Class,
yeah, probably class inform your PC. And so that was really interesting because I mean, like mostly the one about the races, well, they were mentioning a lot of like different races that I don't think could be in the setting of Critical Role, but that had a very different background. They were very not human, and thus that brought a lot of contrast. So I pulled from the guide. Matt listed the races of Tal'Dorei, so we can. I mean, I'm not sure, but we can imagine that that's going to be the same thing in Wildmount. There are dragonborn, dwarves, elves, halflings, half-elves, half-orcs, humans, Genesee, gnomes, Goliath, and tieflings. So for those of you who might not know, because I learned that very recently, so Genesee are humans or any race, but with, for some reason, a trace of elemental in them. And tieflings are, also a thing. I mean, I don't know if they could, they're just humans or if they can also be any race, but with a trace of
demon. Devil, yeah.
I always mix them up. Like one is from hell and one is from the plane of chaos. So
it's devil. They have devil in them.
Yeah, a bit of devil in them.
They always remind me. You didn't play World of Warcraft, but they remind me of the Draenei from World of Warcraft. If you look them up, particularly the females, They remind me of tieflings, the Draenei. But yeah, I mean, come on. How come no one is a dwarf? Like, dwarf is such an archetype of D&D. Like, give me a dwarf. I don't know. Maybe it's because they don't want to do the Scottish accent that, like,
they don't have to.
Well, Mercer kind of established that they kind of have Scottish accents in his world.
What if you're dwarf from Market?
Yeah, well, Will Wheaton's dwarf just had a normal, like, gruff American accent. So, yeah, give me a dwarf. Like, if I was that, like, if I was in the group, I'd be playing a dwarf paladin or something, or like a halfling bard or something. Like, I'd want to. I don't think we've even seen any halflings except one, like the one from the Slayer's Take.
No, Kima.
Oh yeah, Kima. Yeah, Kima, and then the one in the Slayer's Take, who's like the head mistress's husband, who is like at the desk.
Okay, totally forgot that he was a halfling. Yeah,
those are like the only two halflings we've seen. We barely see any dwarves. We need more dwarves.
But yeah, so definitely more racial diversity because that's the core thing. Like, we want to have a little bit more contrast. I think there are good chances to see a tiefling in the next campaign.
Probably.
Because we've seen some NPCs, 2 or 3 playing tieflings, and I think Laura seemed really interested by the whole tiefling thing, so that would be cool.
Just definitely don't be 3 half-elves. I mean, that's pretty lame. That they have 3 half-elves. But at least I can understand with Vex and Vax. They're twins, so obviously they got to be the same race. But
I mean, Killif could have been, like an Ashari, could be any race, so she could still be an Ashari and be a dwarf Ashari.
Or like a halfling or something, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That would make sense. But I would love to see a tiefling or a genasi, because I haven't researched enough the difference of those two mechanics, but I think, being slightly tinted from a power from beyond, could have some similarities. I think they will go for tiefling, but that would be really cool. I just hope we don't have 3 tieflings in the next party. That's, what I'm hoping.
Yeah, that would be pretty lame. Hopefully that they would be more diverse. And come on, we need a dwarf for sure. Like, that's like a must for me. It's like someone needs to be playing a fucking dwarf. Like,
yeah, definitely. And a health, like a real health, because elves, if I understood that correctly, are mostly raised by humans, because humans are really proud of mingling with the elves, but the elves are not so proud of their halfling.
Right, yeah, we don't have a pure elf.
Because that could be a lot of contrast too. Like a real snotty, what's the name of that? I have read Lord of the Rings. I just have a really, really, really bad memory of the very snotty head of the elves.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I could see the actor's face also from the movie, but well, all of your humans, like, wars are beyond me, blah blah blah, something like that. Someone who would need, like they would be interesting as a contrast to the Goliath. Like, the Goliath just wants to fight. Like, you just dingle a little thing in front of him and he's going to go charging. So someone who would be like the opposite, like, you need to give me a lot of motivation to go for that, because I'm not interested in
right. Yeah, more
idle movement. Yeah.
More intergroup drama. I think about this shit all the time. Like, when I'm running, I'll have these scenarios running in my head. Like, I had a scenario that I thought of for a D&D campaign where, like, you'd have a blood hunter who is a Lycan, and then you'd have a holy paladin, right? And, like, in the beginning, the holy paladin's like, he sees the blood hunter turn into a Lycan, and he's like, that is unnatural, that is filth, has a real disdain for this person. And then over the course of time, they become friends, and you have, like, this great moment where, like, like, maybe he's in a part where, like, the someone's talking down the blood hunter, or someone says, like, like, and the paladin steps up after a year of hating this person and is like, hey, this is my friend, he's a man, not a animal, or something like that. That'd be like a great moment, stuff like that, because you have interpersonal drama, they overcome it. It's storytelling 101, and then they become friends, stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I want to see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we have the chance to see that type. I think Travis said that would be interested into playing that kind of character.
Yeah, and hopefully he plays someone smart.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm really willing to bet. I mean, he role played that character with what -2 in intelligence so well, but you could see the actor sometimes being frustrated because he always stayed in character. I mean, not always, but he 95% of the time stayed in character really well. And sometimes you could see like you knew Travis, the human, had an idea of how to get out of that pickle, but Grog, the barbarian, couldn't say it because Grog would not have had the idea. And so you could see Travis being frustrated. I mean, like, come
Right.
on, guys, there's, and sometimes he slipped and it got out. Like, we got to do that. So yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to play someone really intelligent. I could definitely see him being like almost a group leader. And I think he mentioned they would be interested in the blood hunter class because I think in the one shot when he played someone more evil, he liked that. So someone, I mean, I don't think Grog is. I mean, Grog is neutral, but I don't think he's morally ambiguous because he's just too dumb to be ambiguous.
Right. Right.
So
No,
someone, yeah.
you didn't see that whole one shot, right? The one where
I saw you told me about it, and I saw part of it.
yeah.
I
See,
was
once
really
it gets
annoyed
closer,
with.
well, once it gets closer to the end, you can clearly tell that he's evil, like, and he does it really well. But yeah, I just think that he'd be great as something else. And hopefully, if he plays a Blood Hunter, like I said, I want someone to play a Paladin and think that when he turns to a Lycan, that's fucking disgusting. And then they have fights about it. That's the kind of stuff I want to see.
Yeah, and I would love to see Sam Riegel playing a Lawful Gold Paladin because that would be really, really different from what he's played before.
Yeah, and the reason why I keep bringing up a Paladin is because I think a Paladin is important to group dynamics because it puts a strain on what they can do. Because the Paladin, they always, they're by the book, by the law. So that naturally adds a dimension of strain between other characters if they don't want to do things by the law. So that's the reason why I keep bringing up a Paladin, because I think it does a lot for group dynamics if you have a Paladin that plays a Paladin to the T. Like, if someone plays a Paladin, I want them to play it, 100% by the book, by the law. So I do kind of worry that if Sam played a Paladin, because Sam is just naturally funny. Like, I kind of maybe see Vax more as a holy Paladin. Liam as a holy Paladin.
I know, but that's what we're seeing. That's his multi-class. He's a Paladin now. He's a rogue,
right, but he doesn't really role play it like that, though. He doesn't really role play it like a Paladin. I want to see him role playing it as just like a strict by the book, 100% by the rules Paladin.
Yeah, no, he role plays it. Yeah, again, like Jon Snow. Like, oh, it's that is my holy duty. It's my curse. I have to wear that on my shoulders. Like, yeah, that's very annoying. But yeah, no, yeah, fully committed Paladin. A Paladin who's happy to be a Paladin. Who really believes in that.
Right. That's what and I think Liam, to me, my first thought was Liam would be the best for that. I think, to me, like, I want to see Sam. I mean, maybe not play a Bard again because that'd be too similar, but like I could see him being like a jokey fighter or maybe like a rogue or something, but he still needs to bring the levity to the group because I think he's obviously the most naturally funny. So maybe not make him so much different than he is, but I did write down here a couple things I'd want to see. One, I'd like to see less melodrama. They have a lot of melodrama, in my opinion. I like to see a little less of it.
There's more coming up that you're not gonna like. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like to see a little less melodrama and more consistent role play. And I put in parentheses Keyleth. I know a lot of people hate on Keyleth. I don't hate her as much as other people do, but I don't like. And okay, so this ties into the next thing I wrote too: is more emphasis on the character stats on how they role play. So, and that does not, and I'd say Grog does that the best because he has 6 intelligence. He role plays it like he has 6 intelligence. Well, Keyleth has 20+ wisdom. And I know she has low charisma, but she has 20+ wisdom, and she's supposed to be like a philosopher. Like, you have 20 wisdom, you're supposed to be like Aristotle or something. You're supposed to be super wise. And she just doesn't play it like that, in my opinion. And like, her role playing is so inconsistent because she's supposed to be this great leader among her people. She's supposed to be bred to be a leader, but about 3/4 of the time she's kind of a bumbling idiot too. Like she does a lot. I mean, it's like her, like she's whimsical.
I know. I mean, I don't want to hate.
Right.
I don't want to hate on Killith. I mean, I can hate on Killith. That's a fictional character. I don't want to hate on Marisha, but I'm really, 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 I really hope she chooses. Like, I wouldn't mind if most of them chose something fairly close from what they had.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want Marisha to choose something different because I think, she got locked in that thing where, okay, usually when you don't have charisma, I would assume the easiest way to play it is that you're shy. Maybe you're stuttering. But no, she wanted to be like almost someone with Asperger's syndrome, which is, like, well, I mean, she's socially awkward. That's the word she uses. She's socially awkward. That's the way she played her low charisma instead of shy, which is easy, socially. And that's what makes it all over the place. Sometimes she has love. Yeah,
I think her character would be more interested if she just would have been socially awkward, and like if she was like the socially awkward, bumbling idiot that became a super powerful druid just by accident. It just happened, and she became the super powered druid, and like people are like, why, whoa, she's the one that got the she's the one that's the super powered druid. Because like to me, I just don't.
But that's almost the way Tiberius was playing his character, bumbling idiot. I think that was in his description, and that's
right.
That's why when they started, they didn't want to, he was playing the bumbling idiot a little bit, and so she wanted to play something else.
Well, he was the bumbling idiot who secretly wasn't a bumbling idiot, is the way that I heard he explained it. But she should have just been kind of the bumbling idiot who was, because that's how she plays it most of the time. But then all of a sudden she'll be like making a crazy joke or doing something crazy. But then all of a sudden the next scene she's super serious and trying to be a leader or whatever. And I just want more consistency there, because like if I was there, I don't think if I was a character, I just wouldn't buy into the fact that she's supposed to be a leader. That's just my opinion. So hopefully we see more consistent role play, and I think she does a good job for the most part. Like I said, I don't hate her or anything, and she did it. She was great in the Goblin one shot. So I know she can do it. So hopefully maybe in the next campaign, maybe she's like a cool fighter chick or something. That's just kind of what she is. She's like a badass or something.
I could see her being the paladin.
Yeah, I mean, she could be the paladin too, just as long as just to be consistent. Whatever I think she can do anything. She just got to be consistent with it.
Yeah, but I think it was something the character built. That again, it's not Marisha, it's not the actor, but that there was something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Complicated in the character build, which sometimes I've never played, but I assume if that was her first time playing D&D, I don't assume that I would build my best thought out character the first time I played. So what if then I end up 5 years later with all the eyes on me, just with that character that wasn't that well thought out, but I thought, oh, I'm gonna stick to it because that's my character. But yeah,
right.
No, I could see her playing paladin. Also, one thing, you said, a badass female warrior. Like, how would you feel? Like, do you think the girls have to play female PCs and the guys have to play male PCs, or?
I mean, I just think people generally are more. I mean, I don't think they have to. I mean, they can do whatever. They can do whatever they want. I just think that people generally are more comfortable with playing their own sex. But I think if Sam wants to play a female whatever, I think that's fine. I mean, they can, and that'd be cool, and I'm sure they do a great job at it.
Definitely. Oh, Jake just asked, how often do they start new campaigns? So it depends. I mean, I'm not sure. I use the word campaign. I mean, that would be the first time they would start a new campaign, meaning it would be the same human actors playing, but they would have new characters. Before, they used to have different campaigns arc, so different storylines that would build together, but that would be like the official second campaign. The group wouldn't be called Vox Machina, which is what it's called now. It would be something else. It would be the first time.
Yeah, they have a lot of different arcs, but this is gonna be the first time that they do, because like essentially right now they're essentially demigods. They're like level 20 demigods almost, and they're doing, they're fighting gods and everything, and they're doing the end game, like the meta end game stuff of D&D. Most campaigns don't make it this far. So yeah, they're going to start fresh, new characters, start low level, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, we're all. So okay, what else is in your notes?
Okay, I said that they need a wizard/sorcerer. I kind of brought up that before, but they definitely need a ranged high damage dealer with utility spells. They sort of have that with Scanlan now, but Scanlan's more just almost completely utility. He doesn't have a lot of high damage spells. So you need to have a character like that. Someone needs to play a bard. A bard is one of the best characters in D&D. Someone needs to be a bard in the next campaign. Hopefully someone plays bard. I know that Matt Mercer said his favorite character is playing as a dwarf bard. So, but he's unfortunately just a DM. He's not a player. But they need a bard and they need a wizard/sorcerer. So you can have someone have high range damage with utility spells. So that's something I hope we see, is someone playing a wizard or a sorcerer. Maybe I remember Laura played in the Liam one shot. She played a spellcaster. So maybe she'd want to play a tiefling spellcaster or something. We'll have to see.
I think it's very
possible. We need that.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I was done.
How would you feel about a warlock for spellcasters? Because that would make that could work with tiefling.
Yeah, my one problem with warlocks, from what I've researched, is that they're kind of one-dimensional. Like, if you remember from when Mary McGlynn played her character, I can't think of her name, but she was Zara. Warlocks, essentially, from what I kind of looked into it, they essentially just kind of cast Witch Bolt and they channel it. Like, that's like the one thing they do. They don't have a lot of utility. They do a shit ton of damage. But they don't have a lot of that utility. Like a sorcerer has a lot of utility where they can flick fireballs while also teleporting them all, sending, like they have to do with like Gilmore and what's her name? Kima's wife.
Elora.
Elora. Yeah. They have to have them sending, because they have the message spell. They need someone with identify, like they had a little bit with Tyrion, but yeah, so like they need to have a wizard or a sorcerer that can do all these different things. Warlocks, from my understanding, have a lot more like life transference spells and just like damage nukes. They do a lot of damage, but they don't have the same utility as a wizard and a sorcerer. So I think they need a wizard and a sorcerer.
No, well, I agree. So a druid, a paladin, a wizard/sorcerer. You think, like, is it necessary for a party to have like a tank, like the way Grog is? It doesn't have to be a barbarian. It could be a fighter, but you have someone with just like frontline.
I think it helps because obviously Grog being an HP sponge has helped him out a lot. But the one thing is, as per my knowledge, obviously I play a lot of video games. I play a lot of MMORPGs, so obviously when you have a tank in the group, they have a taunt, and they can, taunt the NPCs to attack them, and it's a mechanic of the game. But in D&D, I don't think that is a thing, and the DM is going to attack whoever he thinks is the best to attack. So I don't think it's as necessary, but I think it is good to have a frontline health sponge, essentially.
Sorry.
Like I said, I'm not that familiar with the D&D mechanics itself, so I don't know if that's a thing. But
because I think I've heard about. So again, watching videos. I'm usually doing something else because I'm not really watching them. I'm like drawing line on my bullet journal that I'm trying to build, and it's taking forever to just draw stupid lines while listening to D&D. And so I can't remember if it's in 3, if it's in 5e still, or if it's something from previous editions, but it's still something. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't add a cool like 3e mechanic to 5e if it's one thing specific and the DM agrees with it. I think there used to be something like a taunt. I can't remember for which class, but I've heard people mention something like that. Or I think it was the paladin.
I mean, the paladin is kind of a
fighter.
I mean, a paladin is a frontline heavy armor a lot of HP. So I mean that covers that. Like to me, their group composition. So there's 7 people. I'd want to see a paladin, a
cleric,
wizard, sorcerer, a cleric, a bard. I think those 4 are necessary, and then the other 3 can be, you can have like a monk, or you can have like another caster, or you can have like a rogue or something. You can be flexible with the other 3, but I think those 4 you need, and mainly the paladin for group dynamics, but also to be, it can be a damage taking sponge or whatever. Like you could have Grog playing a hunter, or yeah.
Oh, I think I'm still, it could totally change, but I think they're going for Blood Hunter with Grog.
Yeah. So he'd be frontline damage dealing. It'd be cool to.
Oh, sorry. No, that would be cool, but it just is. Again, his mechanics could allow him to be like frontline damage dealing as a Blood Hunter. But again, it depends how you role play your character. The Goliath would be the frontline tank, just because if he's like an animal and he goes after the blood. The Paladin would, I guess it could be also not a tank, because there's a lot of way to play a Paladin, but it would be frontline because it's my mission to protect the party in the name of my god. But like a Blood Hunter could have the ability to be frontline, but be, again, more morally ambiguous and be more about self-preservation. The way Tiberius used to always stay out of range of most hit points because he didn't want is to be hurt, and the way Vex is still most of the time. Vex is still usually trying to stay away.
And Percy.
And Percy. So for Vex and Percy, you could say that's because they're the weaks. So if they get hit, they die, and that's not good for the party dynamics. It was not as much the case for Tiberius. You could play your character as having a lot of hit points, but not wanting to waste them. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So just just be good to have a diverse party, diverse races, diverse alignments, just to have interpersonal drama. That's the main takeaway that I want to see. Another thing is, and I'm sure that there's going to be there, but if it's going to be 25 to 30 years after Vox Machina, we got to have some Vox Machina Easter eggs. You got to throw those Easter eggs out there. I'm sure that there will be. I think it'd be cool if they were part of the Darrington Brigade, and we can see like a 50-year-old or 60-year-old Tarrington, or Tarian being the leader of it or something. That'd be cool. But
or someone more like the heads of the, I forget the name. The one who hunt the monsters, the Slayer Stake. Were like bookkeeping for brigade, like.
Yeah, that's another way they could all get together. They could all be Slayers take recruits or something.
One thing I would like to see more is them interact more with different factions. So I know it's a catch-22 because that requires either them to have guests or Matt to play a lot of NPCs. I don't really know how they could integrate that in the game. But again, with the idea of it being slightly more political, it's like the class was so exciting and we got to see so little of it. And like now we know they don't really like Vox Machina, but nothing really came out of it. Like I would like that to have more weight.
That was one of the more infuriating things to me, was when they pissed off the class, when the class, even though they were doing it for their own gains, like they clearly was helping them on. And so that's one thing. I mean, I know it's nitpicky, but some of their decisions kind of bug me, but it's hard to criticize that. Like the whole stuff with the class was really kind of bugged me, but it is what it is. I still love the show.
Yes. I think that's, how we could conclude. I don't know. Do you have a lot more on your notes?
No, I was pretty much done with my notes.
So yes. So how we could conclude, we love the show. We highly recommend anyone to try it. So with the caveat that that it's daunting, all of those hours of shows. And someone calculated how many hours that was, but either, if you're someone commuting a lot, check out the podcast, or go to the Reddit to see like which episodes they would advise you to watch first, or just wait for the new campaign. And I guess I'll probably announce it on Twitter, or James and I were thinking, I'm not promising anything because I'm never delivering on my promises, but we're thinking of maybe trying to do some kind of review of the episodes. We have no idea the format yet, but once they start a new campaign.
Yeah, for sure. It is daunting to invest that much time. Like, I was able to do it because I have a lot, I'm a college student, and when I do have a lot of time on my hands because I don't have a job. So I was able to do it, but it would be hard, I find, for people that are working a 9 to 5 to actually catch up to the show. It would be hard to do. So, my suggestion would be wait until the new campaign starts and do a bunch of research. You can pretty much read of everything that's happened up to this point. It's obviously not the same as experiencing it, but I would probably wait for the new campaign if you don't have the time to invest. I mean, about 400 hours into watching. But I will say that the episodes, even though when they say they're 4 hours long, you can usually skip the first 12 minutes of introductions. You can usually skip the 30-minute break, and then you can skip the last 10 minutes that they're just kind of bullshitting. So, I mean, it is a little more condensed than they say they are.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still long. Also, one thing, honestly, the first episode I ever watched was, could be slightly spoilery, but it was the episode of the big Thordak battle. So Thordak being a huge dragon, it was part of a really big story arc. I had missed a lot. A lot. And the first thing I watched, they were battling Thordak, and there was a lot going on that I had missed, and I still fucking love that episode. Because Matt Mercer, the DM, always recaps what happened at the beginning, so you can always catch that. So obviously, it was a really battle heavy and really, really cool episode. Some episodes are a little bit slower. If that's the first one you watch, you could be disappointed. So again, if you just want to give it, if you're like, oh, it's raining, it's Sunday, it's raining, I might give it a shot. Check out Reddit Critical Role to see which episodes they recommend to start with. And do you have anything to add?
I mean, I don't really have anything else to add about what I'd want to see in the future campaign, but yeah, just watch it and enjoy the characters. And Scanlan is the best. That's pretty much all I got to say.
Yeah, Old Vax is the best. Oh, no, that's not the. Let's not. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. Let's say goodbye to everyone and wrap up that video, because if we start saying which is my favorite character, we could go on for 30 more minutes. So anyway, thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Iron Throne and Jake and Angelo. And I hope I'm not missing anyone. I know LT said hi. Mrs. Chrono was there for a while. And I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the chat. Maybe thank you to everyone else who might have watched us and not commented in the chat, but I just don't know who you are. And until next time,